to look at this particular concept where de Broglie's matter wave explains the Bohr's postulate. So we know that in Bohr's postulate, Bohr has told that he was the person who introduced the quantum concept, and using the quantum concept he told that the angular momentum of the electron inside the orbit, they are quantized and they cannot have any other value, but they have specific discrete values, and this is given by L equal to nh by 2 pi, or mvr is nh by 2 pi. This is what is given by Bohr's postulate that we have already seen. Now we also learned that de Broglie was the one who had given us the concept of dual nature of matter, and he said that every particle, every matter, subatomic and material particle has a matter wave associated with it. So if the particle is very large and heavy, then the waves are very small and it cannot be detected. Whereas if the particles are very small, like electron, proton, if they are very subatomic, then at least we can detect the wavelength of such material wave of such particle. So what he says that if we are thinking in the atomic level, then our whole picture is like at the center there is a nucleus, and surrounding that there is this electrons in various orbit that is revolving. But according to de Broglie, he says electron is not a particle. We cannot say electron is not a particle, but he tries to look electron from the matter wave aspect. He says that it is like, it is kind of spreading around, and these electrons are like a wave. They exist like a spread of the wave. So they exist like a wave and not like a small particle. So they are kind of spreading around like a wave. So he encourages to look the electron from the matter wave aspect. And we know that what he says in de Broglie's hypothesis, that the wavelength of such matter wave is equal to h by p, where h is the Planck's constant, p is the momentum of such material particle, or m into v. So now we know this from Bohr's postulate. This is a very much concept that where we are looking electron as a particle which is revolving around, and now the same thing we are trying to look it from the matter wave or the wave side of the electron. So he tries to explain that this electron wave is like a standing wave that is produced in a string. If you remember, we have learned about a stretched string, and this string is closed at both sides, and if you pluck the string, there will be this kind of formation of wave, which we have called it as standing wave. And if we also have various type of waves producing, and this can be like this. This is the wavelength half, and this is the full wavelength lambda, and this particular points where there is no amplitude or amplitude is 0, we call them as node. And from here we had, in our previous knowledge of the standing wave, we have learnt one thing, that this wave, this whole length of the string is have to be the integral multiple of the wavelength, right? So suppose only those waves can be formed here which has the nodes at the ends. It means only the integral multiple of the wavelengths can produce this standing waves. Otherwise it would just interfere. It will reflect back. The wave goes and reflects back and interfere in a way that if there are no nodes at the two place, then it would interfere in a way that amplitude will be 0 and those waves cannot exist. So we have this standing waves concept, from where we know that the length of this string is equal to the integral multiple number of the wavelength of the standing wave. So this very concept de Broglie has tried to kind of form here, and he tried to put multiple waves inside where the electron are revolving. So to look this whole thing from a perspective of standing wave. So this is what he has told. So to look the electron not just like a particle, but it is as a spread of a standing wave. And suppose this whole, if we take the circumference, suppose this is the nth orbit, nth orbit where the radius is Rn, and the electron moving with a velocity Vn, right? So according to the standing wave concept, if we put it here, then the whole of this circumference becomes 2 pi Rn, right? And this 2 pi Rn is equal to n lambda. So lambda is the wavelength. This is what we get from the concept of standing wave, that the whole circumference have to be the integral multiple of the wavelength of this particular wave. Now this concept is used by de Broglie, that the standing waves are forming inside such orbit, and then he uses his matter wave formula, which is h in the place of lambda. This is the matter wavelength, so h by mv. So suppose this is the nth this thing, so this is mvn. So here, according to de Broglie, 2 pi Rn is nh by mvn, right? So from de Broglie uses this standing wave concept, which is this, and then in the lambda he puts his matter wave formula, and thereby he gets this relation. From here we just shift it there and shift it here. We get mvn Rn is nh by 2 pi, right? So this is the same thing that is coming to our concept from Bohr. Bohr also have told the same thing, that the angular momentum of this electron in this orbit is nh by 2 pi, and from the standing wave concept, taking the standing wave concept and standing wave formula, putting the matter wave that is derived by Bohr's hypothesis, putting that, he arrives to the Bohr's postulate, and thereby de Broglie with his matter wave concept, with the concept of matter wave, he explains the atomic orbit and reaches the same result as the Bohr's postulate.
If you like the video, then press the like button, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.